With his stunning voice and catchy tunes, Bruno Mars won over fans with singles like Uptown Funk and Just the Way You Are. Bruno was a mainstay in the music industry, known for his energetic concerts and chart-topping songs. However, he has recently disappeared from the spotlight, leaving both his fans and critics baffled. Rumors have been circulating for a long time that he has taken an undisclosed hiatus from music. Bruno Mars, now 40, has come forward to clear things up. Have you been wondering why he has been so quiet, and what the truth is? Stay tuned as we uncover the shocking reason behind his sudden departure. And do you know the legend of Bruno Mars? Leave an A in the comments if you do. Early life and musical roots. Bruno Mars's early life and the path to popularity deserve a deeper examination before we get into the specifics of his career. Born in Honolulu, Hawaii, on the 8th of October 1985, Peter Gene Hernandez is better known as Bruno Mars. Peter Hernandez was born in Brooklyn to Puerto Rican parents with Jewish ancestry, and Bernadette San Pedro Bayo was an immigrant from the Philippines with Spanish ancestry. Bruno grew up in the lively Waikiki area. His mom was a hula dancer and his dad was a drummer. They met on stage. Bruno Sammartino, a professional wrestler, was the inspiration for his father's decision to give his son the moniker Bruno when he was only 2 years old. Bruno grew up in a musical family as one of 6 children. From rock and roll to reggae, hip-hop, and R&B, his formative years were a kaleidoscope of musical styles. Bruno was heavily impacted by his mother's singing and dancing and his father's devotion to Little Richard's music. The distinctive musical style for which he would eventually become famous was born out of this fusion of styles. Bruno began his musical adventure at an astonishingly young age. At the tender age of 3, Bruno's uncle, an Elvis Presley mimic, pushed him to give performances of Michael Jackson and Presley songs. When Bruno was just 4 years old, he was already playing 5 days a week in the Love Notes, his family band. He became famous in his native Hawaii for his Elvis impression. One incident from his youth that stuck with him was the time he peed on himself while performing Can't Help Falling in Love. Even after this setback, Bruno's love for performing never wavered. The Hawaiian newspaper Midweek promoted Bruno as Little Elvis in 1990 when he was just 5 years old. On top of that, he had a cameo in Honeymoon in Vegas and sang during the Aloha Bowl halftime performance. At the tender age of 6, he made an appearance on Arsenio Hall's show and was interviewed by Pauly Shore of MTV. Bruno and his family put on regular performances when he was in elementary school, during which they covered songs by Little Anthony and Frankie Lyman. He demonstrated his musical ability even further by playing many instruments, such as drums, guitar, piano, and percussion. The Love Notes came to a close when Bruno's parents split when he was 12 years old, causing him to experience a major life shift. The financial situation of the family became worse as his father's enterprises started to falter. A former employee of his father's, they were forcibly relocated to less prosperous parts of Hawaii and frequently took refuge in their vehicle, on roofs, or at the deserted bird zoo known as Paradise Park. Bruno showed remarkable resilience in the face of adversity and persisted in his musical pursuits. His musical approach and theatrical appearance were profoundly affected by his time spent mimicking Elvis Presley. His admiration for rock icon Jimi Hendrix's guitar playing encouraged him to pick up the instrument as he matured. Bruno frequently thought about how his musical family and his Hawaiian childhood molded him into the artist he is today. From his humble beginnings as a youngster from Hawaii to becoming the famous Bruno Mars of today, a giant jump into the music industry, how did he get there? As a student at Honolulu's President Theodore Roosevelt High School, Bruno was a member of the band The Schoolboys. They opened for his dad's new band and played at several concerts, where they covered hits like The Temptations and the Isley Brothers. While still a high school student, he became well known in his home state of Hawaii and was able to land jobs such as opening for a big magic show and performing Michael Jackson impersonations for $75 each concert. Mike Lynn, head of A&R at Dr. Dre's Aftermath Entertainment, heard Bruno's demo through his sister, who resided in Los Angeles. This was Bruno's big break. Inspired, Lynn extended an invitation to Bruno to visit her in Los Angeles in 2003. Bruno left his high school after graduating at the age of 17 to focus on his music career. He was shocked by the area's poverty and filth when he lived on Mansfield Avenue upon his arrival in Los Angeles. Drawing inspiration from his childhood moniker and adding Mars for a touch of flair, Bruno adopted his stage name. Bruno wanted to escape being categorized as a Latin musician, which the business first encouraged him to sing in Spanish, so he picked the term out of this world. He also wanted to avoid being told he was out of this world. Early production work and setbacks. A record deal with Motown Records was swiftly secured by Bruno Mars in 2004 after his relocation to Los Angeles. Unfortunately, he didn't get the break he had hoped for because of the bargain. He also attempted to establish contact with Will Dom's management, but encountered even greater obstacles. Mars overcame these early obstacles to have a pivotal career-defining period with Motown. Philip Lawrence, an American producer and songwriter, was a pivotal influence in his life's trajectory, whom he met here. Regrettably, Mars was let go by Motown a year after signing with them. Mars initially planned to return to Hawaii, but ultimately opted to remain in Los Angeles. He inked a publishing agreement with Westside independents Steve Lindsay and Cameron Strang in 2005 for his musical compositions. Mars, who had met songwriters Brody Brown and Jeff Basker via Mike Lynn, learned the trade of songwriting from Lindsay. Lindsay stressed that natural ability was only one component of making popular music. To do so, you had to know what made a song popular. Even though Mars and his colleagues had to wait 5 years for significant progress, this learning time was important. Mars, Basker, and Mars's brother Eric Hernandez were all members of the band Sex Panther when they were active. In time, Eric would join Mars's band The Hooligans as their drummer. Due to budgetary concerns, Philip Lawrence was reluctant when he initially contemplated meeting Bruno Mars. But the Black Eyed Peas' drummer Keith Harris stepped in to provide a hand, offering to compensate Lawrence for whatever it cost to fly out here. Lawrence made a playful request for a fee of $5 for the bus. This encouragement was critical, and after a rocky beginning, Lawrence and Mars began collaborating, penning songs, and enduring many record company rejections moments of breakthrough. Aaron Bay Shuck, who would subsequently become Mars's A&R manager at Atlantic Records, was introduced to him by Lawrence in 2006. Mars's guitar skills attracted Bay Shuck, who wanted to sign him right away. Due to Atlantic Records' belief that Mars required further time to mature as an artist, the official signing of Mars did not occur for over 3 years. After Mars and Lawrence nearly gave up in 2008, their luck turned around when Brandon Creed called. While searching for music to play with Menudo again, Creed came across the Mars original Lost and thought it would be perfect for the reunited band. After receiving a $20,000 offer, Mars and Lawrence reluctantly decided to sell it. The sale gave them the much-needed cash boost, enabling them to keep going. For the subsequent 9 years, Creed also served as Mars' manager. Mars was famous as a song producer before he became famous as a solo performer. He worked with Sean Kingston, Alexandra Burke, Adam Levine, and Brandy, among others. Mars frequently cites his collaboration with Flo Rida on the 2009 smash single Right Round as a watershed event in his career, although he had other notable early triumphs as well. His 2010 album Sweet Seven featured backup vocals from him, as well as co-writing the song Get Sexy with the Sugar Babes. Furthermore, Far East Movement's 3D, which is from the album Animal, has Mars as a singer. In 2009, he made additional contributions to 2 more singles, Love, Jason Ma's debut, and One at a Time, Travie McCoy's charity effort for MTV's Staying Alive Foundation. Achieve stardom on your own. The ascent to solo popularity of Bruno Mars was really phenomenal. After a series of impressive collaborations, he quickly made a name for himself as a standout artist. Let's dive into how his solo career took off and explore his journey to fame and fortune. Bruno Mars's big break came through his collaborations with other artists. His work on B.O.B.'s hit song Nothing on You and Travie McCoy's Billionaire showcased his exceptional songwriting and vocal skills. Both tracks became massive hits, with Nothing on You topping the Billboard Hot 100 and the UK singles chart. This success wasn't just a stroke of luck. It was a testament to Mars's talent and his knack for creating catchy, memorable music. Mars often reflects on these early successes and reveals an interesting detail. He believes that if he had sung the entire track of Nothing on You, it might have sounded like classic 90s R&B, which was not the intention. Instead, the collaboration allowed him to shine through as a featured artist, adding his unique touch without overshadowing the overall sound. On the 11th of May 2010, Mars released his debut extended play, EP, titled It's Better If You Don't Understand. This EP was a significant milestone in his career, marking his transition from a behind-the-scenes songwriter to a solo artist. It was a major step in cementing his position in the music industry, even if it only peaked at No. 99 on the US Billboard 200. The Other Side, a track from the EP that featured CeeLo Green and B.O.B. in its music video, was part of the package. Mars's status as an adaptable musician who can collaborate with industry heavyweights was further cemented with this single. The demands of stardom and the music industry presented additional obstacles for Mars as his reputation increased. Part of his path, overcoming these challenges, required him to be resilient and adaptable, climbing the financial tree. The more famous Bruno Mars became, the more money he made. Mars was the 12th highest-paid artist in 2013, according to Billboard, with an estimated net worth of about $18,839,681. It was only the start. Mars earned $60 million from June 2013 to June 2014, putting him 13th on the Celebrity 100 list. Forbes magazine began documenting his earnings in 2014. With an estimated $39 million in earnings between June 2016 and June 2017, Mars placed 6th on Forbes' world's highest-paid celebrities list, a testament to his ever-increasing financial success. Mars was crowned America's highest-paid artist of 2017 by Forbes, who calculated his profits at $100 million in July of the following year. He reached his all-time high in yearly earnings with this astounding sum, which also put him in 11th place on the Celebrity 100 list. With $51,500,000 in earnings from the 1st of June 2018 to the 1st of June 2019, he was rated 54th on Forbes' Celebrity 100 list in 2019. Bruno Mars's rise to fame was marked by thrilling achievements and financial prosperity, but he also had to overcome obstacles and fight legal fights, as is the case with many famous people. Get a better look at the court fights that shaped his story here. The legal incident. Following his concert at the Hard Rock Hotel and Casino in Las Vegas on the 19th of September 2010, Bruno Mars found himself in a legal scenario that he had not anticipated. Following the observation that Mars was spending an unusually extended period in a restroom stall, the security officers became suspicious, which ultimately led to his detention. During the arrest, Mars stated that he had made a silly error and expressed his profound remorse about the circumstance. As he has reflected on the event, he has admitted that he was taken aback by the way things transpired and the lessons that he gained throughout this trying period. Mars was successful in negotiating a plea agreement that allowed him to escape an extended period of incarceration, despite the serious nature of the allegations against him. To fulfill the terms of the agreement, he was required to perform community service and enroll in educational classes. After Mars had satisfied all of the criteria of the plea agreement by the year 2012, the accusations against him were formally dropped, and he was able to put this previous chapter in the past. Since that time, Bruno Mars has not only moved on from this period in his life, but he has also succeeded in reaching even higher heights in his profession. This incident has served as a turning point for him, highlighting the significance of personal development and resiliency in his overall outlook. Fans are inspired to overcome obstacles and pursue their hobbies as a result of his unwavering success and optimistic approach, which serve as a tribute to his ability and devotion. However, Mars's legal problems did not end there. The argument over the copyright of the billionaire went on. Bruno Mars and the rapper Travie McCoy were named as defendants in a lawsuit that was submitted by Demetrius Orlandus Proctor on the 28th of January 2014. During the litigation, it was said that Mars's popular song, Billionaire, which he had collaborated in writing, had violated Proctor's copyright. In Proctor's opinion, the melody of the song was too close to the music that he had previously composed. Proctor argued that he had been the owner of the copyright for the song's music and lyrics since the 31st of March 2011, even though Billionaire had been published a year earlier, in 2010. Proctor presented a certificate issued by the United States Copyright Office for a collection of tapes named Frisky Volume, 1 to 30 tapes, to give evidence in support of his allegation. He demanded that all copies of the music be destroyed, accusing Mars and McCoy of committing a deliberate violation of copyright laws. As part of this process, All unlawful downloads were removed from computers and servers, and any physical copies that were still in circulation were also removed. As part of his argument, Proctor asserted that the defendants had utilized his work without his consent and claimed that he had sole rights to duplicate and distribute the music. On the other hand, Proctor's legal processes did not progress without any problems. A request to dismiss that was submitted by Travie McCoy was approved by the court, which also cited other concerns. Because Proctor had failed to properly serve McCoy with the case, the court determined that it did not have the authority to exercise personal jurisdiction over him. Proctor's case was further undermined by the fact that he failed to disclose which aspects of his work had been duplicated, which was interpreted as being detrimental to the defendant. Bruno Mars's career continues to go from strength to strength despite this legal setback. His second studio album, titled Unorthodox Jukebox, was released on the 7th of December, 2012, following a lengthy period of quiet, followed by its release. A creative effort on Mars's part was to provide fans with the opportunity to listen to the complete album 1 week before the album's official release announcement. With an incredible 192,000 copies sold in its first week, Unorthodox Jukebox made its debut on the Billboard 200 list in the United States, where it debuted at number 2. It rose to the top of the charts in a short amount of time, hitting number 1 in several nations, including the United Kingdom, Canada, Switzerland, and Australia. Over 6 million copies of the album were sold all over the world, solidifying Mars's place as one of the most successful pop artists of the 2010s. It was able to negotiate the music industry without encountering big issues, which resulted in it becoming a large economic success. This was, although it received some small criticism. There is yet another lawsuit filed against Bruno Mars and Uptown Funk for infringement of copyright, at a time when everything appeared to be going swimmingly for Bruno Mars. With the release of his album 24K Magic on the 18th of November 2016, and a fresh storm brewing around his smash song Uptown Funk, things began to go from bad to worse. After having previously blazed its way to the top of the charts 2 years earlier, this song found itself in a precarious situation once more. An enormous amount of popularity was achieved by the song, which was produced by Mark Ronson and included Mars. However, it also became a magnet for charges of copyright infringement. The Gap Band emerged as the source of the most significant dispute. All of the members of the band, along with their producer, said that their song, Oops Upside Your Head, was strikingly similar to the tune that was being compared to Uptown Funk. Due to this, they were given credit as co-writers of the song Uptown Funk and got 17% of the earnings from the book's publication. This acknowledgement was a significant financial boon for the Gap Band, but it wasn't the end of the legal wrangling. In addition to the Gap Band's claims, several other artists jumped into the fray, accusing Uptown Funk of resembling their works. Serbian artist Victoria claimed that her track was copied, though she decided not to take legal action. The electro-funk band Collage also filed a lawsuit, arguing that Uptown Funk was similar to their song Young Girls. Meanwhile, The Sequence accused the song of infringing on their track Funk You Up. Adding to the legal chaos in 2017, La Strada Entertainment weighed in, pointing out similarities between Uptown Funk and Zapp's classic More Bounce to the Ounce. Despite some lawsuits being dropped over time, the controversy highlighted the ongoing tensions in the music industry regarding copyright and originality. The debates around these allegations touched on deeper issues such as the nature of musical inspiration and the fine line between homage and outright copying. Critics were divided. While some argued that Mars and Ronson's work was a fresh take on the funk genre, others felt that the track was too derivative, raising questions about who truly owns a musical style and how past influences shape current hits. This situation also stirred discussions about cultural appropriation. Some accused Mars of borrowing from black artists without giving due credit, while others defended him, saying his work celebrated and acknowledged the funk genre's roots. Sensei Aishatu, who was in charge of a conversation on the Grapevine, was critical of Mars because, in her opinion, the band was only recreating already published works rather than presenting something fresh. She suggested that Mars's success may be attributed, at least in part, to white audiences enjoying black culture via the creative perspective of a non-black artist. Heirs of the Gap Band have accused BMG of withholding royalties from the Uptown Funk album. The blockbuster song Uptown Funk, once again made news in January 2021, but this time it was because of a court struggle that involved BMG rights management. Both parties were involved in the dispute. Robert and Ronnie Wilson, the heirs of the members of the Gap Band, have launched a lawsuit against BMG, accusing the firm of neglecting to pay them royalties for their contributions to the hit track that was performed by Mark Ronson and Bruno Mars. This is the history behind it. As part of the agreement that was reached in 2015, Ronnie and Robert Wilson were given ownership of 3.4% of the copyright for the song Uptown Funk. This agreement served as a kind of compensation for the use of components from the song Oops Upside Your Head by the Gap Band, which was released in 1979, into the song Uptown Funk. The complaint claims that BMG, who had purchased Minder Music in 2015, failed to uphold the contract by not paying the royalties or providing correct accounting for their portion of the revenue. Minder Music was the publisher of the Gap Band. For breach of contract, the heirs were seeking damages over $75,000. In addition to that, they demanded a 9% annual interest rate beginning in 2015. Given that BMG had acquired Minder Music, the action brought to light the fact that the company was legally compelled to pay the Wilsons all of the profits from Uptown Funk that was owed to them according to the contract. On the other hand, the Wilson heirs decided to withdraw the claim without any consequences in April 2021. This indicates that they did not put a halt to the legal action in a permanent manner and that they may bring it back at some point in the future. Regarding the charges, BMG defended itself by stating that they were without foundation. It was made very apparent by the corporation that no settlement or cash transaction took place to dismiss the complaint. Despite the continuous criticism that has been surrounding the matter, BMG has reaffirmed its dedication to fairly treating artists and preserving openness. It was not this case that brought an end to the legal turmoil. As a result of this circumstance, the intricacies and difficulties associated with handling music rights and royalties were brought to light. As a result, interest was resurgent in the more general concerns of copyright and equitable recompense in the music industry. As the development of this case progressed, many people were left wondering about the wider consequences that it may have for artists and the industry as a whole. On the other hand, while we move on from the controversy around royalties, another fascinating topic about Bruno Mars has come to light. Recent events have given rise to rumors concerning Mars's purported gambling problems, as well as a significant debt amounting to $50 million. What precisely is the reality behind these charges, and what kind of response has Mars given to these allegations? To discover out, stay tuned. Mars's gambling debt of $50 million, and what has he come to say about it? At the beginning of the year, 2021, Bruno Mars found himself in the middle of a whirlwind of scandal. Reports surfaced that the pop sensation had accumulated an enormous gambling debt, allegedly owing MGM Resorts International a staggering $50 million. According to the rumors, Mars's lavish gambling habits had spiraled out of control, resulting in major losses that put him in financial hot water. These claims suggested that much of his earnings from his highly successful Las Vegas residencies were being directed toward repaying this alleged debt. An unnamed source added fuel to the fire, stating that Mars was basically owned by MGM because of his gambling habits. Naturally, such explosive claims caught the attention of fans, critics, and the media. With Mars earning an estimated $90 million a year from his Las Vegas shows alone, it was hard for many to believe that someone so financially successful could find themselves in such a precarious situation. After all, Bruno Mars is not just any performer. He's a global superstar selling millions of records, winning prestigious awards, and performing to sold-out crowds around the world. But the idea of him being secretly burdened by a mountain of debt added a layer of mystery to his otherwise dazzling public persona. In response to these reports, MGM Resorts wasted no time addressing the rumors. They issued a statement that was quite forcefully worded and completely and unequivocally denied that the charges were true. According to MGM, the assertions that Mars owed them $50 million were totally and utterly untrue. Mars was praised for his efforts as a performer at the firm's facilities, including the Park MGM, and the corporation stressed the pleasant and respectful relationship they had with Mars. MGM emphasized their satisfaction in their collaboration with the artist, telling fans that the allegation that Mars's gambling had led to such a catastrophic position was completely false. MGM reaffirmed their enthusiasm for their partnership with the artist. They intended to put an end to the conjecture once and for all through the statement that they made. However, despite MGM's vehement rejection, the allegations continued to circulate over and over again. The news appeared to be too juicy for many people to let go of. Considering that Mars had previously admitted to his gambling tendencies during a carpool karaoke session with James Corden in 2016, Mars had disclosed his gambling inclinations. In the course of that humorous conversation, Mars said that there was a time in his life when he relied on gambling as a means of assisting him in meeting his financial obligations. Even though this statement was made in a joking manner, it allowed fans and the media to speculate about whether or not his gambling had ever been a serious problem. Given the fact that gambling is a very addictive activity and that Mars was generating considerable gains from his residency in Las Vegas, several people questioned whether or not there was more to the tale than what was being disclosed to the general public. If Mars and MGM were seeking to safeguard their reputations, might there be a secret truth that they were trying to keep secret from the public? The timing of the claims was another factor that contributed to the mystery. Mars's Las Vegas residency brought him millions of dollars, and he was at the pinnacle of his career at the time. Fans were perplexed, wondering how someone who appeared to be in complete command of their business and had achieved such great success could be struggling with such financial difficulties. There was a striking disparity between his public image of affluence and success and the allegations that he was in terrible debt, which only served to deepen the mystery. During the ongoing discussion around Mars's financial situation, the artist found himself in the limelight for a different cause. Mars, along with his musical collaborator Anderson, .Paak, made news in 2023 when they made the unexpected decision to remove their record, titled An Evening with Silk Sonic, from contention for the Grammy Awards. Several Grammy nominations were being considered for the record, which had received considerable acclaim and had achieved economic success. Despite this, Mars announced that they would not be submitting the album for any Grammy recognition, which was a move that both fans and industry insiders found to be unexpected. Mars added that he and Anderson, .Paak believed that they had already won because their smash single, Leave the Door Open, which had won all of the accolades the year before, had received such a resoundingly favorable reception the prior year. He observed that everything else was only the cherry on top, and that the acknowledgement that they had already earned was sufficient at that point. Through their decision to abstain from taking part in the Grammy submission process, the couple sought to respectfully announce their departure, therefore allowing others to take the focus. Mars expressed thanks for the chance to play at the Grammy Awards, as well as for the accolades they had already earned. They also stated that they wanted to take advantage of this time to appreciate the music of other musicians. While the Recording Academy respected Silk Sonic's decision, the move left many fans and critics scratching their heads. After their impressive sweep at the 2022 Grammy Awards, where they won 4 awards, including Record of the Year and Song of the Year for Leave the Door Open, it seemed unusual for Mars and Paak to sit out the following year. This decision also sparked some skepticism. Could it be that Mars, already facing rumors about his gambling habits, wanted to avoid too much public scrutiny? Winning multiple Grammy Awards could bring even more attention to his personal life, potentially reigniting past controversies over the originality of his music, which had cast a shadow over his earlier albums. Then, in August 2024, Mars and Lady Gaga took fans by surprise with the release of a new collaboration titled Die with a Smile. This marked the first new music from both artists in quite some time, and it was met with widespread excitement. Leading up to the release, the two stars teased the collaboration on social media by sharing cryptic posts, including photos of themselves wearing each other's merchandise. This clever marketing strategy created a buzz among their fan bases, building anticipation for the single. Die with a Smile was a heartfelt song that explored themes of love, connection, and the uncertainties of life. Many fans speculated that the song might carry a deeper meaning, a response to the criticisms and challenges that both Mars and Gaga had faced throughout their careers. Through all the noise of rumors, legal battles, and controversies, Bruno Mars has remained remarkably composed. Mars has chosen a different strategy than many celebrities who, when confronted with scandal, hastily tried to defend themselves, sometimes making things worse. Bruno Mars is a master at keeping both his fans and detractors in the dark, and the truth behind his alleged $50 million gambling debt is far from apparent. The world is enthralled by Mars's music and quiet alike, and we can't help but wonder what the next chapter of his career holds. Mars has been mostly mum about the speculations, choosing instead to concentrate on making songs and giving concerts that fans will never forget. His ability to keep his cool in the face of rumors and conjecture makes him even more mysterious. His devoted following is still going strong, and they can't wait to see what the artist does next, both musically and personally. Mars remains unwaveringly exceptional due to his remarkable talent and unwavering tenacity. It is now your turn to speak. Is Bruno Mars someone you like? Leave a remark or idea. Appreciate you tuning in, folks. Get on board with our channel and hit that like button if you loved this video. Before you go, make sure you watch the next entertaining video that appears on your screen.